Alright, welcome to our IRC workshop. We're going to be talking about Internet Relay Chat, aka a pretty much 20-year-old protocol, almost 30 years, that you use to chat with awesome people on the internet. This has been widely adopted by hackerspaces and also some open source projects, so it's a good way to keep in touch with other nerds. So if you want to learn more about the protocol itself, there's a super good Wikipedia page on it. The first thing you want to be asking yourself is how to connect. And so here are a few recommended clients if you have a Mac, which is pretty popular. I have used Colloquy in the past, but I always end up coming back to a simple command line app called IRC. And it's available cross-platform, it's open source. Let me show you what it looks like first. Here is our Hackster channel, which you can join us at Hackster, Octothorpe Hackster, hashtag, whatever you want to call it, #Hackster on Freenode, which is a server. So when you want to communicate over IRC, you basically join a server, which is someone's publicly hosted available server where they're running the IRC, an IRC client, and you connect to it, and then you can join different channels that are active. And if you try to join a channel that doesn't exist yet, for example, join, let's see, hipsterphobia wingsuit. I'm gonna guess this doesn't exist yet. So I'm the first member here, and as such, I am the operator, as indicated by this little @sign. And I can leave that by typing WinC, and that closes my window. As you can see down here, I've got multiple different tabs open with different channels open. So there's the Hackerspaces channel. There's a really active one for London Hackspace. Noisebridge has a pretty good one too. And then there's open source projects like NodeBots, for example, is on there. Let's see. Ooh. SparkFun is on there. Hey, SparkFun! And again, you can join us at Hackster. Another popular server is OFTC, and those are more sort of alternative channels. So what you can do to brighten up your experience while you're on your terminal is add scripts. So a couple of popular ones are nick color, which gives you an individual nick color for each of the other people on the channel. And some versions of this will track people across different channels. So if you have a friend who's in multiple of the same channels as you, then they'll have a consistent color across those. And then I also like the highlight win one, which gives you another window that logs every time someone mentions you in a chat. So for example, let me see if I can find this NodeBots one. There's another one that actually keeps track of your windows for you. But in this one, for example, Jason Kreidner has said, hey! And you can track those in their own separate window, which is super convenient. I've got IRC up and running on a virtual private server, a VPS, using Screen. So this is a really useful way to keep it from logging you off when you, for example, accidentally close your window. So say that I'm running it here, Screen, and you can just use Homebrew to install this on a Mac. So for example, go brew install, IRC, and it will go ahead and do that, but I've already got it installed, so I'm not gonna. But let's see, so if I just run regular IRC like this, then I can connect to irc.freenode.net. And then it will automatically assign me a nick based on how I'm logged in on this account on my computer. And in this case, my username is Alex, so it'll try and assign me that nick. It'll fail because that's been claimed long ago. You can register a nick. In this case, this guy got lucky. And so I'm going to go ahead and change that to my usual nick And using a pipe in your nick is a pretty common way to indicate that you're at work, you're at home, you're away from your keyboard, etc. And so now I'm going to join a channel. And you can see that both of me are here. And one of them has ops. Oop, there we go, operator privileges. So now I can also have this notification show up in my other channel, or in my other identity, that I've joined the channel. So what happens if I close this window? Oh look, I've quit. But what happens if I do it in screen this time? And usually there's a character limit on what username you can have. There we go. Join Hackster. And as you can see, I've joined again. This time I'm going to close my window. And oh look, I haven't quit. Where am I? I don't know. Let's see. So if I go to screen, detach, and reattach that screen session, then here I am again, back in the channel, and I can go, hey yo! And everything's fantastic. Now to end that, I'm just gonna go quit. So how does this turn into hardware? We've got a few IRC related projects on Hackster. For example, this awesome IRC channel monitoring device that somebody built with an Intel Edison and a Seed Grove kit. So basically it watches an IRC channel and gives you a little LED blink every time there's some new activity, and it scrolls through the new messages for you. So as you can see, this is mainly just an Intel Edison and then the Grove kit. Besides that, there's some guidelines on how and when and why you should use IRC versus Slack, and also what server you should use on IRC. So for example, you can set up a channel and register it. Ours is registered on Freenode so that no one else can come and claim the channel, for example. And that basically means that you sort of own it. But different servers are going to be set up because it takes resources to run a server. Different ones are set up for different purposes, and you should respect what people want for that. Also, in terms of protocols, you can actually hook up an IRC channel to a Slack channel and then have the two interface so that you can talk to people on IRC even if you don't have a separate client set up. And there's a few arguments for why you should use either one. In this case, as you can see, since Slack is closed source, some people are against that. If you're working on an open source project, there are fewer other protocols that interact with Slack, other clients and services, and more that interact with IRC. Since it's been around for so long, people have built a lot of different ways to interact with it. You can build bots for both, which is pretty interesting. I once built a Colossal Cave type adventure game, text adventure, and led someone through it and had them interact with it in order to retrieve a birthday present. So there's all kinds of fun stuff you can do with that. Another way to spice up your terminal is to use Cathode, which is an app that I like for Mac, and you can use it in your browser as well. But let me fire it up here. There we go. And you can choose between a number of different ancient consoles. So this works just like a regular terminal. So I can go whatever my line it is. Or I can say, let's see, why not your second? And run some IRC on here. Is it .NET? Yeah, cool. Anyway, so that's pretty fun. They might have actually had a message of the day on there, an MOTD, that told you something about it. So there's another awesome top hackster called Garrett who has set up a Freenode bot to run on a particle photon, or I believe it was a Spark core back in the day. But you can find that on the Spark forums, and I'll recreate this at some point soon. I want to make a project using it. Ideally something to call us all to lunch in the office because we're bad at coordinating that. But you can find it on GitHub as well, and soon as a Hackster project because I'm gonna steal it and give him, credit and stuff like a good person. There's another thing that I was working on today, which is you can turn a Raspberry Pi into an IRC server on your own network. I've been having some issues on my local network, so I wasn't able to get that up and running for you just yet, but hopefully that'll be up and coming in the future, in the very near future. And this basically would allow you to put up your own IRC server in any location that you like, as long as you have internet access. And then you can control access to it as much as you like. So for example, on Freenode, pretty much anyone can join any channel. I think there are ways that you can restrict that, but you have way more control, obviously, if you're going to run your own server. And then finally, there is another Raspberry Pi project that talks about IRC. This concludes our brief insight into IRC and hardware. I hope you've gotten some ideas. We've got the Edison, we've got the Pi. If someone gets this up and running on the chip, I'd be really interested. We've got the Spark core. So dig around and send us what you develop, and we'll be happy to feature it later. Thanks, have an awesome night, and I'll catch you next week.